Our names are Megan and Nadia, and today we're going to be presenting why the Arctic Tundra should be in your zoo.
We believe that the Arctic Tundra should be part of the zoo in Mexico for many reasons. The Arctic Tundra has so many different animals for people to observe and explore.
This gives people all around the world opportunities to see things that they have never been able to see before. Very few people get the chance to go to the Arctic Tundra, and if we are able to bring it to them, they are able to witness what it is like.
We created a video of our experience in the Arctic Tundra and everything that we saw, so here it is.
Arctic Tundra is found across northern Alaska, Canada, and Siberia. This biome has long cold winters and short cool summers. The Arctic Tundra has low precipitation, less than 10 inches per year, and dry winds. These conditions make the Arctic Tundra a desert-like climate. One unique characteristic of the Arctic Tundra is permafrost, which is ground that is permanently frozen. Because the permafrost has no cracks or pores, nothing can penetrate it, neither plant roots, nor water. The surface layer above the permafrost thaws each summer. This layer is called the active layer. Thickness of the layer depends on its location in the tundra. The more northerly the location, the thinner the active layer is. Curiously, during the summer, Arctic Tundra is characterized by lots of surface water. When the snow melts, the water percolates through the active layer but is unable to penetrate the permafrost. Since the water has nowhere to go, the active layer becomes saturated and pools of water form on the surface. Another characteristic of the Arctic Tundra is the limited amount of sunlight it receives due to the position of the sun in the sky. Depending on the latitude, the sun can remain below the horizon for up to 2 months, leaving the Arctic Tundra in darkness. Although the sun remains in the sky 24 hours a day during the summer, it stays close to the horizon and provides only low-intensity sunlight.
Some animals that are in the Arctic Tundra are polar bears, Arctic seals, Atlantic salmons, Arctic tern, krill, Arctic hare, lemmings, ermines, Arctic wolves, caribous, musk ox, lichen, walrus, Dall sheep, Arctic shrews, harlequin ducks, and even more. We met up with a scientist that makes trips out to the Atlantic Tundra to study all of the plants and animals that are out there. We asked her if she wanted to come and talk to us about the importance of the animals and even more animals that are found out here in the Arctic Tundra.
So, Dr. Ocampo, what can you tell us about the animals and the species that live out here in the Arctic Tundra?
Well, we have many species that live out here in the Arctic Tundra, like polar bear. The polar bear is a consumer and an omnivore. It has no predators and it eats bare berries, musk ox, caribou, walrus, and harp seals. Next is the Arctic fox. The Arctic fox is a secondary consumer and a carnivore. Its prey consists of the Arctic hare, lemming, shrews, and viles. Its predators are the Arctic wolf. The Arctic wolf is a scavenger and tracks down any scraps of meat that is left behind by polar bears and Arctic wolves. Next, musk ox. Musk oxen are the primary consumers and herbivores. Its prey consists of plants such as hay, lichen, and sedges. Its predators are the polar bears and Arctic wolves. Next comes the lemmings. Lemmings are primary consumers and herbivores. The predators of Arctic lemmings are Arctic fox, Arctic wolves, and snowy owl. It eats plants such as Arctic moss and Arctic willow leaves. Another animal is the walrus. The walrus is a secondary consumer and a carnivore. It mainly preys on qurills, and its predators are the Arctic wolves and the polar bear and brown bears. Next, the Arctic wolves. The Arctic wolf is a consumer and a carnivore. It has no predators. Its prey consists of musk oxen, caribou, wood bison, wolves, lemmings, polar bear, Dall sheep, Arctic ground squirrel, snowy owl. The Arctic wolf is very similar to the Arctic fox. as a scavenger, but it is also the higher food chain than the Arctic fox. The caribou. The caribou is a primary consumer and an omnivore. It eats plants such as caribou moss, cotton grass, and sedges. Its predators are polar bears and the Arctic wolf. Arctic bumblebees. The Arctic bumblebee is a primary consumer and omnivore. It eats the nectar from the Arctic poppy. It also feeds off the Arctic willow and the diamond-leafed willow. Its predators are small birds such as dolan in the Arctic Alaskan tundra. Lastly, red fox. The red fox is a carnivore and a secondary consumer. It eats lemmings, Arctic voles, and ground squirrels. Its predators are the polar bears and the Bergeron falcons.
How about the plants that are in the Arctic tundra?
Some plants that are in the Arctic tundra are Arctic mosses. Arctic moss is an autotrophic plant and is a producer. It has many predators such as Arctic voles, lemmings, and shrews. Arctic moss is a decomposer that breaks down consumers. Arctic willow. The Arctic willow is an autotrophic plant and a producer. The Arctic willow's predators are Arctic ground squirrels and grasshoppers. Bearberry. Bearberries are autotrophic plants and are producers for animals such as polar bears and snowy owls. Caribou moss. Caribou moss is an autotrophic plant and a producer. Its main predator is a caribou. Caribou moss is a decomposer, breaking down meat. Lichens. Lichens are autotrophic plants and are producers. Its main predator is the musk oxen. Lichens are decomposers in the Arctic tundra and break down dead organisms. Cotton grass. Cotton grass is an autotrophic plant and a producer. Its predators are the wood bison, caribou, and the grasshopper. Sedges. Sedges are autotrophic plants and producers for predators such as musk ox, caribou, and wood bison. Arctic poppy. Arctic poppy is an autotrophic plant and is also a producer. The main predator, which is not really a predator in the Arctic tundra, is the Arctic bumblebee. Lastly, pines. The pine tree has small animals hunting for its twigs and leaves, such as the Arctic hare.
Thank you so much, Dr. Akamo. Good luck with your research. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Off the camera, we talked to Dr. Acampo about several other things. One thing that we talked about was the relationships between organisms in the Arctic tundra. She told us that there are 3 different relationships: mutualism, communalism, and parasitism. Mutualism is a mutual relationship where both of the organisms or species benefit. An example of mutualism is between the Arctic poppy and the Arctic bumblebee. The Arctic bumblebee is provided with nectar and food, and in return, the Arctic poppy is provided with pollination.
Commensalism is a relationship between 2 organisms or species where one organism benefits and the other does not benefit nor is harmed. An example would be when a caribou is looking for food, the Arctic fox follows it. The caribou digs a slightly deep hole in the snow-covered ground in a quest to find food. Once the caribou is done hunting, the Arctic fox goes back to the hole and digs deeper and gets its food. Parasitism is a relationship between 2 animals where one benefits and one is harmed. An example of this is with the Arctic wolf and the liver tapeworm. The liver tapeworm lives within the Arctic wolf's intestine, eating all the nutrients that it comes through. This is an example of parasitism relationship between the Arctic wolf and the liver tapeworm in the Arctic tundra.
Various adaptations of the Arctic tundra plants, which include grasses, liverworts, sedges, low shrubs, and reindeer mosses, grow close together and low on the ground, enabling them to survive the 9-month-long of winter. Huddling together allows the plants to resist the damage caused by the layers of snow and ice, particles stirred up by the strong, frequent winds. Alpine plants located in high-altitude mountains throughout the world are similar to Arctic plants. Though they grow in well-drained soils with no permafrost, the alpine soil, however, is thin and poor in nutrients, discouraging productivity. Cushion plants found in the alpine tundra survive the harsh winds by growing roots and extend deep and cling to rocky soil. Some plants, such as lichens, attach themselves on rocks, which anchor them on the ground and provide protection from the wind.
One landmark that we thought was really cool was Mount McKinley. It is the highest peak in the United States and has a summit elevation of 20,320 feet. Another landmark that we were interested in is called the $1 Million Bridge. It was built in the early 1900s and also goes by the name Miles Glacier Bridge. It got its name because of how much it costs, $1.4 million. A national park that was really interesting was the Wapusk Natural Park. It is one of the few places in the world where late in February, visitors can watch tiny 3-month-old bear cubs explore their new snowy world for the first time. It is home to polar bears and other wildlife, including many rare birds, moose, wolves, red and Arctic foxes, wolverines, lemmings, and more.
It is said by 2050, large areas of the Arctic tundra will be warm enough to support lush vegetation and trees. To find out exactly how much greening Arctic warming would bring, teams used a model that projected how temperature changes would affect snow cover, vegetation, and increased evaporation and transpiration from plants to the Arctic. Some threats include the melting of the permafrost. As a result, global warming could radically change the landscape and what species are able to live there. Air pollution can cause smoke clouds that contaminate lichen and significant food source for many animals. Exploration of oil, gas, and minerals, and construction of pipelines and roads can cause physical disturbances and habitat fragmentation. Oil spills can kill wildlife and significantly damage tundra ecosystems. Buildings and roads put heat and pressure on the permafrost, causing it to melt. Invasive species push aside native vegetation and reduce diversity of plant cover.
There are many ways that we can try to solve these threats. They include switching to alternative energy, uses to minimize human-made global warming. We can also establish protected areas and park reserves to restrict human influence. Limit road construction, mining activities, and the building of pipelines in the tundra habitat. And lastly, limit tourism and respect local cultures.
This is why I believe that the Arctic tundra should be part of the zoo in Mexico. The Arctic tundra is an amazing place and is changing so much throughout the years. This should be displayed in the zoo so that people that don't get the chance to go witness the Arctic tundra are able to.
Thank you so much for your time. We hope to be seeing you soon.